Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched Earth grow smaller in the screen. His hands were tight on the metal rail in front of him. This was the last time he would ever see his home planet. The thought made his chest feel heavy. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations. They tried to look busy, but Jake could see the sadness in their eyes. Everyone knew what was happening today. The aliens had made their choice. Humans were no longer welcome in their part of space. The message had come 3 days ago. Ambassador. Lisa Grant had sent it from the big alien council meeting. Her voice was tired and angry when she spoke. They voted against us, she said. All 7 alien races agreed. They want us gone. Jake remembered how quiet the bridge became when they heard those words. For 20 years, humans had tried to be good neighbors to the aliens. They followed the rules. They paid their taxes. They even let the aliens tell them how many children they could have. But it was never enough. The aliens said humans were too violent. They said humans could not be trusted. They pointed to old Earth wars from hundreds of years ago. They talked about human soldiers who refused to give up their weapons. They were afraid of what humans might do if they got angry. Captain Morrison called out Ryan Burke from his station. Ryan was in charge of the other ships in their group. All 50 ships report ready for jump. The cargo ships are loaded with supplies. Jake nodded. 50 ships carrying 50 million people. It sounded like a lot, but it was only a small part of all the humans living in space. The rest had to leave from other places. Some went in different directions. Some had already left weeks ago. The aliens wanted every human out of their territory within 6 months. What about the families on New Boston? Jake asked. New Boston was a human colony 3 systems away. Many people there had lived their whole lives on that planet. They left yesterday, Ryan said. His voice was flat. The aliens took over the planet this morning. They said it belonged to them now. Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. Getting angry would not help anyone now. The aliens had already decided humans were too dangerous. Acting angry would just prove their point. Dr. Amy Foster walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's science officer and one of the smartest people Jake knew. Her face looked pale and tired. She had been working for days to pack up all the human research from the alien databases. The aliens said humans could not take any of their technology or information. I got what I could, Amy said. Basic star charts, some medical data, and food production methods. But they cut off our access to everything else. No more trade information. No more technology sharing. No more anything. What about the place they're sending us? Jake asked. Amy pulled up a star map on the big screen. She pointed to a dark area. At the edge of the galaxy. It looked empty and far away. They call it the outer spiral. The aliens say no one lives there because it's too dangerous. The space has energy storms that break most ships. The planets are hard to land on. Most of them have no air or water. Ryan laughed, but it was not a happy sound. So they're sending yous to die slowly instead of killing us quickly. How nice of them. Maybe, Amy said. Or maybe they just don't understand humans very well. Jake looked at the star map. The outer spiral was far from everything. No trade routes went through it. No alien ships traveled there. If humans went there, they would be completely alone. But maybe that was not such a bad thing. All ships, this is Captain Morrison, he said into his communication device. We are about to jump to our new home. I know this is hard. I know we're all angry and scared, but we're still alive and we're still together. That's what matters. He paused and looked around the bridge. His crew was listening carefully. These people had followed him for years. They trusted him to keep them safe. The aliens think they know what humans are, he continued. They think. We're just violent animals who cause trouble. Maybe it's time to show them what humans really are. We survive, we adapt, we build new things, and we never, ever give up. The jump to hyperspace felt different this time. Usually, Jake felt excited when his ship jumped to a new system. This time, he felt like he was jumping into darkness. But he also felt something else. He felt free. For years, humans had to ask permission for everything. They had to follow alien rules that made no sense. They had to be polite to creatures who looked down on them. Now, for the first time in decades, humans could make their own choices. The jump took 6 hours. When they came out of hyperspace, Jake saw their new home for the first time. The outer spiral looked wild and dangerous. Strange colors flowed through space like rivers. Energy storms crackled between the stars. In the distance, he could see planets that glowed with weird light. Sensors show heavy radiation, Ryan reported. Energy fields that change every few minutes. And something else. The computer can't identify it. Life signs? Jake asked. None that we can detect. But our sensors are having trouble with all this. Energy. Jake smiled for the first time in days. Good. That means the aliens can't see us either. Signal all ships. We're going to find the best planet we can and start building. This is our space now. As the human fleet moved deeper into the outer spiral, Jake felt hope growing in his chest. The aliens had tried to get rid of them by sending them to the worst place in the galaxy. But they had made one big mistake. They forgot that humans were very, very good at surviving in places where they were not supposed to live. Tony Martinez wiped sweat from his face as he looked at the mining machine. 15 years had passed since the humans arrived in the outer spiral. The machine in front of him was nothing like the equipment they had brought from Federation space. This one was built by human hands, designed by human minds, and powered by energy that the aliens said was impossible to use. How much did we get today? Asked Helen Ross as she walked up to him. Helen was now the leader of the Frontier Guard, the new human military force. She still wore her old Federation uniform, but it had been changed so much that it looked completely different. 50 tons of quantum steel, Tony said with a big smile, and 20 tons of those blue crystals that Amy wants for her research. This new drill can work in the energy storms without breaking down. Helen nodded and looked impressed. When the humans first arrived in the outer spiral, their Federation tools broke down within days. The strange energy fields here destroyed normal electronics. Computer systems went crazy. Even simple machines stopped working. Many people thought they would all die, but humans were good at solving problems. Tony had been the first to figure out how to build machines that could work in this strange space. Instead of fighting against the energy fields, his new tools used them for power. The storms that destroyed alien technology made human machines stronger. The new settlements are doing well too, Helen said. We now have people living on 43 different planets. Each group is learning how to survive in their own way. Tony felt proud when he heard this. In the beginning, most humans stayed together on one planet they called Haven Prime. It was a rough, rocky world with thin air and little water. But it was safe from the worst energy storms. Slowly, as they learned more about their new home, brave groups left to try living on other worlds. Some planets were covered in ice, but had rich metals under the ground. Others were hot and dry, but grew strange plants that could be turned into food. A few worlds were completely covered by oceans full of creatures that no alien had ever seen. Each place taught humans something new about surviving in the outer spiral. Kevin found something interesting on New Fortuna, Helen continued. He wants to show everyone at tonight's meeting. Dr. Kevin Hayes had become the chief scientist for all the human settlements. He spent his time studying the weird materials they kept finding in the outer spiral. Some of these materials could store massive amounts of energy. Others could bend light or make things invisible. A few seemed to make impossible things happen, like objects that were in two places at the same time. That evening, all the settlement leaders gathered in the main hall on Haven Prime. The room was full of people who had become famous among the scattered humans. There was Carol Stevens, who ran the government on Haven Prime. There was Peter Collins, who led the small but growing human space fleet. There was Susan Blake, who organized all the settlements and made sure they could talk to each other across the vast distances. Kevin stood at the front of the room with a small device in his hands. It looked like a simple metal box, but it glowed with soft blue light. 3 months ago, we found deposits of element X on New Fortuna, Kevin began. This material only exists in the energy fields of the outer spiral. When we put it into our computers, something amazing happened. Kevin pressed a button on the device. Suddenly, the air above it filled with moving pictures. But these were not normal pictures. They showed things happening in real time on planets light years away. Everyone could see Federation ships moving through space. They could watch alien cities going about their daily business. They could even hear conversations happening on distant worlds. The room became very quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The humans could now see and hear everything that happened in Federation space. But the aliens had no idea that humans were watching them. That's not all, Kevin said. Element X also makes our weapons much more powerful. Our shields can now stop almost any attack, and our ships can move through space in ways that should be impossible. Carol Stevens stood up. As the leader of the first human settlement, everyone respected her opinion. What are you saying, Kevin? That we're now stronger than the aliens who threw us out? I'm saying we might be, Kevin replied. But there's something else. Our population has grown to over 200 million people. We're spread across dozens of worlds, and every single settlement has become an expert at something different. We're not just surviving anymore. We're becoming something new. Peter Collins spoke next. My scouts have been exploring deeper into the outer spiral. We found regions where space itself works differently. Places where our ships can travel faster than light in ways the Federation never discovered. We could build a highway system that connects all our worlds instantly. Susan Blake added, and our communication network now reaches every human settlement. We can share information and resources instantly across hundreds of light years. No alien race has ever managed to do that. Tony Martinez thought about the early days when they first arrived. Back then, they were just refugees trying not to die. Now, they were building something that had never existed before. A civilization designed from the ground up to thrive in conditions that other races couldn't even survive. There's something else, Helen Ross said. My intelligence teams have been watching Federation space. The aliens are having problems. The Zephyrians are fighting with the Crystal people over trade routes. Several planets have stopped following Federation laws. Their perfect alliance is starting to fall apart. Kevin put away his demonstration device. The aliens made a mistake when they sent us here. They thought the outer spiral was a wasteland that would kill us. Instead, it became our training ground. It made us stronger, smarter, and more united than we ever were before. Carol Stevens looked around the room at all the human leaders. So what do we do with this knowledge? Do we contact the Federation? Do we ask to come back? No, said Peter Collins firmly. We keep building, we keep growing, and we wait. The aliens threw us away because they thought we were dangerous. Maybe it's time to show them what dangerous really looks like. Helen Ross smiled. It was not a nice smile. They wanted us gone because they were afraid of what humans might become. I think they're about to find out they were right to be afraid. As the meeting ended, Tony Martinez walked outside and looked up at the strange, colorful sky of Haven Prime. Somewhere out there, beyond the energy storms and impossible distances, the aliens continued their peaceful lives, They had no idea that the humans they had exiled were now becoming something far beyond their imagination. The greatest irony was that the aliens had created their own worst fear. By trying to get rid of humans, they had forced humanity to evolve into something truly dangerous, something that could threaten not just the Federation, but the entire order of galactic civilization. And the best part was that the aliens still had no idea what was coming for them. Admiral Peter Collins stood in the command center of his flagship, the UES Ghostwalker. Through the main screen, he could see the busy space around the Zephyrian home world. Massive alien ships moved in patterns that had not changed in 1,000 years. None of them knew that a human vessel was watching from just a few miles away. "All systems running silent," reported his communications officer. "Their sensors show nothing but empty space." Peter smiled. 30 years had passed since the exile, and the human void fleet had become invisible masters of space. Using technology built from outer spiral materials, human ships could hide anywhere in the galaxy. They could watch, listen, and learn without anyone knowing they were there. "Any word from Director Blake?" Peter asked. "She reports successful infiltration of the Federation Council building on Harmony Station," came the reply. "Agent Murphy has been working as a trade clerk there for 6 months. No one suspects she's human." Peter nodded. Susan Blake had built something amazing with her shadow network. Human agents now worked on every major alien world. They looked like aliens, talked like aliens, and acted like aliens. But they were gathering information that would have been impossible to get any other way. The secret was Dr. Alex Turner's breakthrough in genetic modification. Using techniques developed in the outer spiral's strange environment, humans could now change their appearance completely. A human agent could look like a Zephyrian for months, then switch to appearing as a crystal being when needed. The changes went deeper than just looks. They could even mimic alien biology well enough to pass medical scans. "Sir," called out his tactical officer, "we're getting a priority message from New Terra." New Terra was the human capital world, a planet deep in the outer spiral that had become more advanced than anything in Federation space. President Nathan Ford ran the government from there, overseeing a human civilization that now spanned over 300 star systems. The message appeared on Peter's screen. It was from Rachel Adams, the woman who had revolutionized human economics. "Operation Market Ghost is ready for final phase," she reported. "We now control 17% of all Federation trade through shell companies. They have no idea. They're buying human products and services." Peter felt satisfied. Rachel's plan had been brilliant in its simplicity. Using fake alien identities, humans had started thousands of small businesses throughout Federation space. They sold materials that could only be found in the outer spiral, but claimed they came from unknown regions of normal space. The profits were enormous, and every credit went back to funding human expansion. The aliens were literally paying humans to grow stronger, and they didn't even know it. "Navigation, set course for the Harmony Collective border," Peter ordered. "I want to check on the Zephyrian military exercise." As the Ghost Walker moved through space, Peter thought about how much had changed. When humans first arrived in the outer spiral, they had 300 broken-down ships and no idea how to survive. Now, the human void fleet had over 10,000 vessels, each one more advanced than the best Federation warship. The key had been learning to think differently about space travel. Federation ships tried to fight against the natural forces of the universe. Human ships learned to work with those forces. In the outer spiral, this meant using energy storms for power and navigation. In normal space, it meant understanding how to bend the rules of physics in ways aliens had never imagined. "Admiral," his science officer called out, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from the Zephyrian fleet. It looks like they're testing new weapons." Peter moved to look at the sensor data. The Zephyrians were indeed trying something new. Their ships were firing beams that could punch through normal. Shields like they were paper. For any other race, this would be a serious threat. Analysis? He asked. Elementary plasma manipulation. His science officer replied with a dismissive tone. About 50 years behind our current technology. Our shields would absorb that energy and use it to make our weapons stronger. This was the reality that the Federation could not understand. While they had spent 30 years making small improvements to old technology, humans had been forced to completely reinvent how technology worked. The result was that human science was now centuries ahead of anything in civilized space. Dr. Alex Turner's quantum fold technology was the perfect example. It allowed humans to communicate instantly across any distance, but only within the outer spiral's unique energy signature. Human worlds could share information and coordinate activities in real time, something no other civilization had ever achieved. Sir, incoming message from Agent Thompson on the Crystal Home World. His communications officer announced. Peter accepted the message. Agent Thompson appeared on screen, looking exactly like one of the crystal beings, tall, thin, and glowing, with inner light. But Peter knew she was really Chris Thompson, one of Susan Blake's best operatives. Admiral, Thompson reported, the Crystal leadership is planning to withdraw from the Federation Defense Pact. They're tired of paying for military protection they don't think they need. The vote is scheduled for next month. Peter felt excited. This was exactly the kind of information that made the Shadow Network so valuable. Humans now knew about alien political decisions before most aliens did. They could plan accordingly, or even influence events to their advantage. Any word on the plague situation in Zephyrian space? Peter asked. Getting worse, Thompson replied. Their medical technology can't find a cure. Some sources suggest they might ask the Federation for help, but their pride won't let them admit they need assistance. Peter thought about this. The Zephyrians had been the strongest supporters of human exile. If they were weakening due to internal problems, it might be time to make a move. Signal all agents, Peter ordered. I want a complete report on Federation, military capabilities, economic weaknesses, and political tensions. It's time for President Ford to know just how vulnerable our old neighbors have become. As the Ghost Walker continued its patrol, Peter looked out at the stars and wondered what the aliens would think if they knew the truth. The humans they had exiled 30 years ago were now the dominant power in this part of the galaxy. They had more advanced technology, better military forces, stronger economy, and superior intelligence networks. The Federation thought they had solved their human problem by sending them away. Instead, they had created a hidden empire that could threaten everything they had built over thousands of years. And the best part was the humans were just getting started. Back on New Terra, President Nathan Ford read Peter's reports with great interest. The human civilization had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Over 1 billion people now lived throughout the outer spiral. They had unlocked technologies that could manipulate space and time. They had built an economy that secretly influenced half the galaxy, but Nathan knew that staying hidden forever was not possible. Eventually, the Federation would discover what humans had become. When that day came, humanity would need to be ready for anything. The time for hiding in the shadows was almost over. Soon, it would be time for humanity to step back onto the galactic stage and show everyone what they had become during their years of exile. The aliens had wanted to get rid of humanity because they thought humans were dangerous. They were about to learn just how right they had been. General Chris Thompson looked at the massive display screen showing Federation space. Red dots marked every alien military base, communication center, and government building. After 50 years of careful watching and planning, humanity finally had complete information about their former oppressors. "All teams report ready," announced Captain Lisa Murphy from her position at the tactical station. "Operation Homecoming is ready to begin on your command." Chris felt the weight of history on his shoulders. This was the moment that would change everything. For 5 decades, humans had lived in exile, growing stronger while the aliens believed they were either dead or struggling to survive. Today, that illusion would end forever. "What's the current status of Federation forces?" Chris asked. "Weakened and scattered," replied his intelligence officer. "The Zephyrian plague has killed 30% of their population. The Crystal Collective's economy collapsed last year. The Harmony Worlds are fighting over trade routes. The Federation military is at its lowest strength in 300 years. Chris nodded. The timing was perfect. The Shadow Network had spent years making sure the Federation's problems got worse. A rumor here, a trade dispute there, a mysterious technical failure at the right moment. Humans had learned to guide events without anyone knowing they were involved. "Signal. All ships," Chris commanded. "Begin Phase 1. Across Federation space, human agents activated devices they had hidden over many years. On the Zephyrian home world, the main communication network suddenly went silent. On Harmony Station, the planetary defense grid powered down without explanation. On Crystal Prime, the entire financial system stopped working. Within minutes, every major Federation world was experiencing impossible technical failures. Ships lost power in the middle of space. Communication systems played music instead of carrying messages. Even simple machines like elevators and food dispensers stopped working. But nothing was damaged. No one was hurt. The message was clear. Someone had the power to control Federation technology, but they were choosing to be gentle. "Phase 1 complete," reported Lisa Murphy. "All targets affected. No casualties reported. The aliens are confused, but not panicked. Yet, begin Phase 2. Chris ordered. This was the part that would really shock the Federation. High above every alien capital world, space began to shimmer. Slowly, shapes became visible. Massive human ships appeared in the sky, their hulls gleaming with technology that defied understanding. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They seemed to be made of liquid metal that flowed and changed shape. Energy fields surrounded them like halos of pure light. Most impressive of all, they could be seen passing through solid objects like mountains and buildings, proving they could control matter itself. On the bridge of the UE's redemption, Ambassador Frank Robinson prepared for the most important speech in human history. Frank had been chosen for this moment because he had been there during the original exile. He remembered the humiliation, the fear, and the anger of being thrown out of civilized space. "Open channels to all Federation worlds," Frank ordered. "It's time they knew who we really are." His image appeared on screens throughout alien space. Humans had made sure their message would reach every alien in the Federation, whether their leaders wanted them to hear it or not. "People of the Federation," Frank began, his voice calm but firm. "You may not remember us, but we remember you very well. 50 years ago, you decided that humans were too dangerous to live among you. You threw us out of your space and sent, used to die in the wasteland of the outer spiral." He paused, letting his words sink in. On alien worlds, billions of creatures were watching and listening with growing amazement. "You were wrong about us," Frank continued. "We did not die. We did not disappear. Instead, we built something that your small minds cannot understand. We became more than we ever were when we lived among you." The human ships above each world began to demonstrate their capabilities. They moved through solid matter like it was air. They created objects out of pure energy. They manipulated gravity to make water flow upward and fire burn cold. Every display showed technology that made Federation science look primitive. "For 50 years we have watched you," Frank said. "Our agents have walked among you. Our merchants have sold to you. Our ships have traveled your space roads without you ever knowing. We know your secrets, your weaknesses, and your fears." On the Zephyrian home world, the military tried to attack the human ship. Their most powerful weapons fired beams of energy that should have destroyed any vessel. Instead, the human ship absorbed the energy and used it to create beautiful patterns of light in the sky. The attack only made the ship more impressive. "We could have destroyed you at any time," Frank explained. "Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your shields cannot stop us. Your science cannot explain us. But we are not the monsters you believed us to be. We are here to offer you a choice." The offer was simple but shocking. Humans would take their rightful place as leaders of the galaxy. The Federation would be restructured to treat all races fairly. Humans would receive full compensation for 50 years of exile. And most importantly, there would be new laws to make sure no race could ever be exiled again. "You have 30 days to decide," Frank concluded. "Accept our terms, and we will help you solve your current problems. The Zephyrian plague can be cured. The crystal economy can be fixed. The trade disputes can be resolved. We have the knowledge and power to make the galaxy better for everyone." He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Refuse our offer, and learn what happens when you truly make humans your enemy." The message ended, but the human ships remained in the sky above every alien world. They were beautiful and peaceful, but also clearly powerful beyond imagination. Everyone who saw them understood the galaxy had changed forever. Dr. Monica Price stood in her laboratory on New Terra, watching the alien responses to humanity's return. As the chief scientist of human civilization, she knew better than anyone what they had accomplished during their exile. "The reactions are exactly what we predicted," she told President Nathan Ford over the communication system. "Some races are already trying to surrender. Others are angry and talking about fighting. A few are so shocked they haven't responded at all." Nathan nodded from his office in the capital city. "What about our real capabilities? Are we ready if they choose to fight?" Monica laughed. It was a sound full of confidence and perhaps a little madness. "Nathan, we have technologies that can reshape matter at the atomic level. We can manipulate time and space. We can create energy from nothing and turn energy back into matter. If the Federation forces every ship they have against us, the battle would last about 10 minutes. She pulled up a display showing human scientific achievements. "We've learned to control the fundamental forces of the universe. Gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear forces. They're all just tools to us now. The exile that was supposed to destroy us instead gave us godlike power." Nathan felt satisfied, but also worried. Power like this was dangerous, even for humans. Are we still human, Monica? Or have we become something else? "We're what humans were always meant to become," Monica replied. "We just needed the right environment to evolve. The outer spiral didn't kill us. It perfected us." As reports came in from across Federation space, one thing became clear. Some aliens would accept human leadership. Others would try to fight. But all of them finally understood what they had created when they exiled humanity 50 years ago. They had tried to get rid of a problem. Instead, they had created a power beyond their wildest nightmares. And now that power was coming home. Admiral Kate Davis stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching something that should have been impossible. The space in front of her was filled with ships that looked like they were made of living shadow. They moved in ways that hurt to look at, bending and twisting through dimensions that normal eyes could not see. "How many of them are there?" she asked her tactical officer. "Sensors can't get an accurate count," came the worried reply. They seem to exist in multiple places at the same time. Best estimate is between 10,000 and 10 million ships. Kate felt cold despite the warm air on the bridge. 3 weeks had passed since humanity revealed itself to the Federation. Most alien races had quickly agreed to human terms. But before the new government could be formed, something ancient had awakened in the center of the galaxy dot the Harbingers had been, sleeping for millions of years. No one remembered what they looked like or where they came from. The only record said they had once ruled the entire galaxy before mysteriously disappearing. Now they were back, and they were not happy about what they found. All Federation forces report the same thing, said Colonel Eric Williams, Kate's chief science officer. Their weapons have no effect on Harbinger ships. Their shields collapse the moment they're attacked. Even their most advanced technology is useless. Kate nodded grimly. She had seen the battle reports. Entire Federation fleets had been destroyed in minutes. The Harbingers didn't just attack ships. They seemed to erase them from existence entirely. It was as if the alien vessels had never been built at all. What about our forces? Kate asked. Eric smiled for the first time in days. That's where things get interesting. The Harbingers tried to attack one of our scout ships near the galactic core. Their weapons had no effect at all. Our outer spiral technology seems to be immune to whatever they're using. This was the irony that no one had expected. The Federation had exiled humans to the most dangerous region of the galaxy. The strange physics of the outer spiral had forced humans to develop technology that worked with chaos instead of fighting against it. Now, that same technology was the only thing that could stand against the Harbingers. Signal from President Ford, announced the communications officer. He's authorizing Operation Last Stand. Kate felt her heart beat faster. Operation Last Stand was humanity's ultimate plan, the strategy they had developed in case they ever faced an enemy they couldn't defeat through normal means. It required using every piece of technology humans had developed during their 50 years of exile. All human fleets. This is Admiral Davis, she broadcast to the scattered human ships. We are now at war with an enemy that wants to destroy all life in the galaxy. This includes the aliens who exiled us, but it also includes us. Today, we fight not just for humanity, but for every living creature in known space. The final battle began at the edge of Federation territory. The Harbingers had built some kind of massive device that was changing the structure of space itself. Entire star systems were disappearing, not destroyed, but simply erased as if they had never existed. Kate's fleet arrived first. The human ships looked tiny compared to the Harbinger construction, but appearances were misleading. Each human vessel contained technology that could manipulate reality itself. Begin resonance protocol, Kate ordered. Eric Williams had developed the resonance protocol during years of studying outer spiral physics. The idea was simple, but required perfect timing. Instead of fighting against the Harbingers' reality-changing weapons, human ships would harmonize with them. They would use the enemy's own power to create destructive interference patterns. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Harbinger ships fired beams that tried to erase human vessels from existence. But the human ships absorbed the energy and reflected it back in ways that created chaos in space itself. Reality became fluid around the battle zone, with some areas where time moved backward and others where matter turned into pure thought. It's working, Eric reported with excitement. The Harbingers can't adapt to our harmonics. Their technology is too rigid, too focused on control. They don't understand how to work with chaos. More human fleets arrived, led by Admiral Peter Collins and General Chris Thompson. Each brought specialized ships designed for different aspects of the battle. Some focused on disrupting Harbinger communications. Others worked to protect the Federation worlds that were still being attacked. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. Monica Price arrived with the experimental ship UES Evolution. This vessel contained humanity's most advanced technology, systems, that could evolve and adapt in real time during combat. Monica, Kate called over the communication system. We need something that can stop their main weapon. They're about to erase the entire Federation core worlds. Already on it, Monica replied. Her ship began to change shape, transforming from a normal vessel into something that looked more like a living creature than a machine. I'm going to try something that's either brilliant or completely insane. The U's evolution flew directly into the Harbinger device. Instead of being destroyed, it began to merge with the alien technology. Monica was using human evolution techniques to transform the enemy weapon into something that served human purposes. What are you doing? Kate asked, worried for her friend's safety. Teaching it to be human, Monica replied with a laugh that sounded slightly mad. The Harbingers think in terms of control and dominance, but humans think in terms of adaptation and cooperation. I'm showing their technology a better way to exist. The transformation spread throughout the Harbinger fleet. Their ships began to change, becoming less rigid and more flexible. Some actually started helping instead of attacking, as if they had suddenly learned the value of cooperation over conquest. Impossible, whispered Eric Williams. She's not just defeating them, she's converting them. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The Harbinger fleet, now influenced by human evolutionary technology, stopped its attack on the galaxy. Some ships simply shut down peacefully. Others began exploring space in ways that seemed more curious than threatening. All Federation worlds, Kate broadcast, the immediate threat is over. The Harbingers have been neutralized. But even as she spoke, Kate knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had just demonstrated capabilities that went beyond military power. They had shown they could change the fundamental nature of other species, technology and thinking. President Emma Stone stood before the assembled representatives of every galactic civilization. The meeting was taking place on Harmony Station, but the building had been completely rebuilt using human technology. The walls seemed to be made of flowing light, and the air itself felt different, cleaner and more energizing. Today marks the beginning of a new age, Emma announced to the gathered aliens. Many of them looked afraid, others seemed amazed, and a few appeared to be trying to understand what humans had become. The Zephyrian ambassador raised one of his scaled hands. President Stone, we must ask, are you still human? The beings we, exiled 50 years ago, could never have done what you just accomplished. Emma smiled. We are more human than we have ever been. You see, you made a mistake about what humanity really is. You thought we were just violent animals. But humanity's greatest strength was never our ability to fight. It was our ability to grow, to change, and to become something better than what we were before. She gestured to the walls around them, which began displaying images of human settlements throughout the outer spiral. You sent us to a place you thought would kill us. Instead, it taught us to work with forces that other species fear. We learned to embrace chaos instead of fighting it. We learned to evolve instead of staying the same. The crystal representatives spoke in their musical voice. What do you want from us now? You have proven you are more powerful than all of us. Combined, we want to build something that has never existed before, Emma replied. A true galactic civilization where every species can reach its full potential, where no one is exiled for being different, where everyone can contribute their unique strengths to something greater. Double quotes. Dr. Monica Price stepped forward. She looked tired but satisfied after her battle with the Harbingers. The universe is vast and full of wonders we haven't even imagined yet. While you were all fighting over the same old territories and resources, humans learned to create new possibilities. We can teach you how to do the same. The Harmony representative seemed confused. But why would you help us? We were the ones who voted to exile you. Emma's expression became serious. Because that's what humans do. We survived your exile. We grew strong because of it. Now we choose to use that strength to help instead of to hurt. This is what you never understood about us. We are at our best when we are helping others reach their potential. The new Galactic. Accords that were signed that day changed everything. Humans became the first among equals in a completely restructured government. But more importantly, they shared their technology and knowledge freely with any species that wanted to learn. Zephyrians were cured of their plague using human medical techniques. The Crystal Collective's economy was rebuilt using human understanding of resource creation. Even the smallest species found their voices heard in the new government, but Emma had even bigger plans. As the ceremony ended, she looked up.